This is the Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Anton Roxas. On the Scorecard tonight, Converge coach Delta Pineda stands by young guard Alec Stockton, praising his consistency and emphasizing development over blame. TNT import Bol Bol is starting to find his rhythm in the PBA, saying he is adjusting well to the league's physical play. Uncertainty surrounds the proposed Manny Pacquiao-Floyd Mayweather rematch after Mayweather calls it an exhibition bout. Filipina tennis star Alex Eala drops in WTA rankings from career best number 29 to number 45 after Miami Open run. Riding on a budget bike, food delivery rider Zedrick Ivan Honorica breaks a 20-year-old record at the 2026 Asian Track Cycling Championships in Tagaytay City. All the headlines and more on the Scorecard tonight, the 30th of March. Now, here's our roundup brought to you by the Philippine Sports Commission, the Philippine Olympic Committee, and the NST-IAC. Converge is sticking to its plan and its players. Head coach Delta Pineda has shut down trade talks involving Alec Stockton, urging fans to trust the process as the team continues to grow through adversity. Here's our sports correspondent Zeus Valdez with the details.
Converge head coach Delta Pineda has dismissed speculation surrounding Alex Stockton's future, making it clear the team continues to stand by its young guard. Despite the noise, Stockton has been one of Converge's more consistent contributors this conference, averaging 15.4 points, 2.4 rebounds, and 4.0 assists per game. But for Pineda, the focus remains on development, not blame.
Huwag natin sisihin yung mga ganun sitwasyon sa bata. Importante, bumibigyan namin siya ng kumpiyansa para matuto siya kung nagkaroon man ng pagkakamali. Pero hindi natin dapat sisihin yung mga ganun sitwasyon sa bata. Nobody is perfect, di ba? Pero dyan natututo yan, dyan matututo yung bata niya.
Part of the process, coach.
Part of the game, part of the process yan.
Pineda also shut down rumors of any immediate move involving Stockton, urging fans not to buy into speculation.
But for trade, wala pong ganun. Huwag mo natin paniwalaan yung mga ganun.
Stockton took full responsibility for the costly turnover in the closing seconds.
Every option was covered. They set up a box type defense, and Scotty kind of denied. He went into Mikey, denying Mikey's angle. So he pretty much covered most of the guys. So it ended up tipping the ball as I passed it.
Despite the loss, the guard pointed to execution as the team's biggest issue, particularly in crunch time.
It's gonna be sharper down the stretch. It's pretty much simple. Make sure we get stops and execute our offense down the stretch, and hopefully get some buckets to win us some games.
As Converge continues to search for consistency, Pineda's message remains clear: trust the process and allow the team to grow through adversity. Reporting for the Scorecard, I am Zeus Valdez, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
RJ Abarientos believes the Converge Fiber Xers will only get more dangerous as Mikey Williams continues to find his groove. Abarientos said Williams is still working his way back into form, but warned that once he fully regains rhythm, Converge will be much harder to defend. Williams showed signs of that progress, finishing with 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists in their last game.
Big respect kay Mikey. Alam naman natin ang kaya niyang gawin dito sa team niya and sa liga. So, he's getting his rhythm I think. Pero itong team na to with Mikey, mas marami pang, ewan ko na lang, mas ang hirap bantayan, hirap gawa ng game plan for the future.
Despite Ginebra's win, Abarientos admitted Converge is already showing how dangerous it can be, especially with Williams leading the attack. Bol Bol is starting to find his groove in the Philippine Basketball Association, saying he's adjusting well to the league's physical style of play. The TNT import delivered a dominant performance with 34 points and 18 rebounds in a win over San Miguel, including a head-to-head battle with reigning MVP Junmar Fajardo.
I know it wouldn't just take me because it's very physical, so I just really give props to my teammates for helping me.
Bol emphasized that defending Fajardo takes a team effort, crediting his teammates for support on the boards and interior defense. He also said he is continuing to adjust not just to the physicality but to team chemistry as he looks to grow with the Tropang 5G moving forward. The PBA has fined Calvin Abueva 20,000 pesos for comments deemed detrimental to the league. The Converge FiberXers forward was summoned by the league after being caught on video criticizing officiating following their loss to Barangay Ginebra San Miguel. Abueva was heard shouting, "Apat silang paldo," as he headed back to the dugout, a moment that quickly circulated online. The incident came after a tight game where Converge let an early lead slip away. The FiberXers have now dropped 4 straight games, adding to the team's frustrations early in the conference. Former NLEX guard Kiefer Ravena delivered a stunning finish, drilling an overtime buzzer beater over fellow Filipino and NBA hopeful Kai Soto to lift the Yokohama B Corsairs to a dramatic 96-93 double overtime win over the Koshigaya Alphas on Sunday. With the game on the line, Ravena rose against the towering Soto and knocked down the clutch jumper as time expired, sealing one of the most memorable plays of his career. Ravena finished with a career-high 32 points, including 9 out of 11 three-pointers in one of the most prolific long-range outings in B-League history. Soto, meanwhile, battled with 21 points and a game-high 19 rebounds in a dominant all-around performance. The B Corsairs now look to carry that momentum into their next game on April 1 against the Utsunomiya Brecks as they press forward in the B-League campaign. The Games and Amusements Board says it is now looking into the case involving former PBA player Mac Cardona following an alleged incident in Taguig. In a text message, GAB Chairman Francisco Rivera said the agency will review the matter before making any determination. Cardona was arrested after allegedly kissing a woman without consent and figuring in a physical altercation inside a bar in Bonifacio Global City. He remains in police custody and is set to face charges while authorities and the GAB continue their investigation. Filipina tennis star Alex Eala has slipped in the latest WTA rankings, falling from a career best number 29 down to number 45 after failing to defend points from her Miami Open run. Eala, who reached the 3rd round in this year's Miami Open, showed flashes of her talent but was unable to advance further, highlighting the challenges of competing consistently at the WTA 1000 level. World number 1 Arina Sabalenka kept her rankings after claiming the Miami Open women's title, defeating Coco Gauff in the final to complete a back-to-back sunshine double with wins at Indian Wells and Miami. In the men's draw, Italian star Yannick Sinner captured the Miami Open title with a straight-set 6-4, 6-4 victory over Jiri Lehecka in the final, becoming the first man in history to complete the sunshine double without dropping a set. Meanwhile, Eala can make up for those lost points as she plunges back into the action in the WTA 500 Linz Open in Austria, slated from April 6 to 12. The proposed rematch between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather Jr. is facing growing uncertainty after the American fighter made a sudden reversal, saying the bout will be staged as an exhibition rather than a sanctioned fight. The bout is scheduled for September 19, 2026 in Las Vegas, where the two first met on May 2, 2015 in the fight of the century, with Mayweather winning by unanimous decision to preserve his unbeaten record. The matchup was initially promoted as a legitimate contest that could again impact that unblemished mark. But the shift in direction has raised concerns about its credibility and overall appeal. Sports analyst attorney Ed Tolentino warns that labeling the fight as an exhibition could disappoint fans who were expecting a meaningful rematch, especially with renewed interest fueled by Pacquiao's recent competitiveness against Mario Barrios. The bout, backed by Netflix, was seen as a chance to revisit one of boxing's biggest rivalries with real stakes, including the possibility of altering Mayweather's perfect record.
Netflix is pushing through with this fight because ang habol nila, if we can realize half of that $600 billion in revenue, okay na kami doon. Sold na kami doon. But it's all tied up to the fact that it has to be a real fight. It is going to be a hard sell if it's going to be an exhibition.
Organizers have yet to clarify the final status of the fight as fans and stakeholders await confirmation on whether the bout will proceed as a sanctioned contest or an exhibition. A food delivery rider has rewritten Philippine cycling history. 21-year-old Zedrick Ivan Honorica set a new national record in the men's elite 200-meter sprint at the 2026 Asian Track Cycling Championships at the Tagaytay Velodrome, finishing in 10.865 seconds. Honorica's time smashed the previous national mark of 11.424 seconds, set 20 years ago by John Paul Morales at the 2006 Doha Asian Games. Now, what makes the feat remarkable is that he did it on a 2,500 peso Brain Fixie bike frame with a 12,500 peso wheel set he built himself with money earned from delivery work, while many competitors used high-end racing bikes worth millions.
Nung una po kasi, nag-food panda po ako nung pagkabili ko ng
Rider?
Oh, yes po,
Okay.
panda delivery rider. So ayun po, makilala ko po yung mga tropa ko. Tapos
Saan yan?
sa Marikina din po, and mga lumalaro sila ng mga drug spin pa kung tawagin. And
Ano yun? Fixie?
yes po, fixie na po talaga agad. And ayun po, napasama ko sa kanila.
Honorica's record-breaking ride is now inspiring a new generation of cyclists, showing that even a young food delivery rider can reach the top of national sports and rewrite history. Filipino-German forward Gerrit Holtmann has been ruled out of the AFC Asian Cup qualifier against Tajikistan due to a knee injury, as confirmed by his club VfL Bochum. Holtmann left the Philippine national team early after experiencing knee pain and will miss Tuesday's must-win clash at Heizor Stadium. Club doctors report no structural damage and he's expected back in training next week. With Holtmann sidelined, the Philippines will look to key contributors including Bjorn Christensen, Daisuke Sato, Manny Ott, Sandro Reyes, and Harvey Gayoso in their bid for a 2027 Asian Cup spot. Chinese officials have banned 2 runners for 2 years following incidents at the Chengdu Marathon. One runner performed the splits in the middle of the race, obstructing fellow competitors, while another hoarded multiple energy gels from aid stations. Race organizers said the actions violated marathon rules and disrupted the event, emphasizing that participants must respect the competition and maintain safety standards. Authorities stressed that the bans serve as a warning against behavior that interferes with other runners or undermines the integrity of the race. NBA legend Michael Jordan has dismissed the idea of a single greatest of all time, saying basketball greatness should not be confined to just one player. In an interview, Jordan said comparing players across different eras is unfair, pointing out that each generation builds on what came before. The 6-time NBA champion added that differences in rules, style of play, and competition make it difficult to define a single standard of greatness. For the Chicago Bulls legend, the game is about evolution, where every era contributes to what basketball is today. Meanwhile, here are the results from around the league. Sepak Takraw runs deep in Filipino DNA, a sport rooted in heritage, skill, and national pride passed from one generation to the next. But with that rich tradition, what must change for the Philippines to rise again and reclaim its place at the top of the global stage? We'll discuss that with the head of the Filipina Sepak Takraw Association, Karen Tanchanco Caballero, when we return right here on The Scorecard. Welcome back to The Scorecard. Sepak Takraw is deeply embedded in Filipino culture, symbolizing heritage and national pride passed down through generations. And with that strong foundation, what key changes are needed to bring the Philippines back to the top of the international stage? Here in the studio is the chief of the Filipina Sepak Takraw Association, Miss Karen Tanchanco Caballero. Miss Karen, good evening and thank you so much for joining me here on the show.
Good evening, Anton. Thanks for having me, Bilyonaryo Scorecard.
Well, it's a pleasure for us to have you. A huge honor. So, Miss Karen, to get us started, how are you doing and how is the NSA?
Oh, we're pretty good. I mean, it's steady. Grassroots is definitely in the long game for Sepak Takraw. Elite pipeline is still there, good governance, and of course, it's all about, athletes' welfare and concerns, especially growing the Takraw, not just, internationally, but across the country.
Now, I know we were successful in the previous Asian Games in 2022, 2023, and we have the Asian Games coming up this year in Nagoya, Japan. What other competitions, aside from the Asian Games, are we looking forward to when it comes to Sepak Takraw?
This May, our men's team will be joining the Staff Men's World Cup in Kuala Lumpur. So we're sending a 12-strong team, men's team, competing with I believe about 20 plus, 30 plus countries across the world. And then we have King's Cup in Thailand come July. Before we pursue Asian Games in Japan, and then an exciting U19 Asian Sepak Takraw that Philippines is hosting in November.
That's huge. And when was the last time the Philippines hosted a major Sepak Takraw event like this?
I forgot already. It's probably, long before I even thought of joining the NSA. So it's probably, give or take, 30-something years.
So this is a huge deal. What preparations are being made to make sure?
This is in alignment with PBBM and the PSC's direction to really pursue sports tourism in the country. And I'm really proud to say this is the first youth games of Sepak Takraw. Not just in the Asian level. So we're expecting we have committed 12 countries to join, but a maximum of 16 Asian countries. The best of Asia's youth will be coming in Manila, middle of November 2026.
Wow, exciting year indeed. Asian Games and us hosting the Under-19 back-to-back.
Back-to-back. It's an exciting time for Sepak Takraw this year.
All right. Ms. Karen, who are the athletes, the stars in Sepak Takraw na dapat nating abangan and what lies ahead for them?
Well, we have an interesting mix. We have our young guns joining the team. And of course, the stability of the veterans who are still playing. So the veterans will be providing that stability of the team and experience, but the young ones are giving the firepower really. So it's an exciting time really for us in May in Kuala Lumpur, and then all the way to Asian Games in Japan come September, October.
Now, Ms. Karen, I did mention that we were successful in the previous Asian Games. We took home 2 bronze medals. So with that said, does that guarantee a podium finish for us in the upcoming Asian Games?
This is sports. Anything can happen. But it has certainly, the win from Hangzhou, China really set the standard for the team. So we're coming in Japan not just as participants, but the state of mind is that we are contenders for medal in this Asian Games campaign in Nagoya.
Now, for Sepak Takraw to become an Olympic sport, the Asian Sepak Takraw Federation, or ASTAF, has stated that the first formal application steps to the IOC are currently ongoing,
Yes.
as noted by the Borneo Post. Do you have any update about this?
Well, we're very excited about this, but the road to Olympic inclusion is a long game. But we're all willing to wait. Member countries are really working hard to make it happen. So we're really developing the youth program, women's program, even from the differently abled athletes. They're all in the pipeline. So it's a long game, really, but we are being very patient, and I know it's going to happen for us. Hopefully, my lifetime as a sports leader of Sepak Takraw.
Prayers and fingers
Prayers,
crossed for
yes,
that one.
yes.
Now, Ms. Karen, apart from Sepak Takraw, you are also a former Deputy Secretary General of the Philippine Olympic Committee.
That's right.
And it seems that women are really having a great representation in Philippine sports in the past few years. What do you think is the reason for
Yeah,
this?
as I
and how proud
mentioned
are
to
you
you,
about
no,
this?
the past 10 years has been significant for women in sports in the Philippines. I have seen for myself, I think I'm a living example of opportunities on leadership posts being given, or, you know, women really rising in the Philippine sports scene. There is a significant growth and visibility for sure, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So we have a long way to go, but the representation is there, and we're very hopeful that, you know, there is more for women leaders happening in Philippine sports in the years to come.
Now, Ms. Karen, one of the things that we talked about, one of the topics, and it's also much talked about when it comes to sports, especially on the Olympic level. I want to ask you about this and your thoughts. Being a member of the Gender Equity and Safe Sport Committee, what is your take on the recent IOC decision regarding the banning of transgender women in female sports?
You know, it's quite controversial,
Yeah.
really. But I'm very happy with the leadership of the first woman IOC president, Kirsten Coventry. And, you know, I am an LGBT mom myself, but I believe as a former athlete and now a sports leader, I believe it's a win for women in sports. It's only fair. You know, and, you know, I think after this we can move forward really with, and just really give women what's due them in sports. So I think it's a fair decision by the IOC. And we fully support the decision that's been set forth by the IOC.
Now, one person who has been under the microscope, Imen Khalif, you saw her in the Olympics. Personally, from where you were seated, seeing her compete before your very own eyes, what did you see? And is this fair na pinag-iinitan talaga siya all over the world?
Well, Anton, I want to be very fair about, I saw for myself, and without, you know, I don't know if this is cancelable, but when I was there and I watched the game, I felt I was watching a domestic abuse.
Wow.
It felt that way. I mean, the physicality really was, for me, from my point of view, from my lens, it felt like, okay, I think I saw a man, but of course that remains, you know, a lot of controversial happened. So, but I'm just really happy that a decision has been made that if you're not biologically woman, you cannot compete in the women's event. And I think that's just the most important thing. But personally, during the time that I was there in Paris and I saw for myself, and I'm like, you know, from my personal point of view, I think I saw a man. But that's just my personal opinion.
And even one of her opponents, sa sobrang lakas ng mga suntok, umayaw na rin siya. She decided to bow out of her fight
Yeah.
because of that.
And you know, see, working with girls in sports, our girls, our women are working so hard to really excel. And I think it's only fair that, you know, they be given the due recognition. What's due them, because they worked really hard for so many years. And I think this is going back. I think it's a win for women in sports that the decision of the IOC is finally there and final.
Now, Miss Karen, apart from your involvement with Sepak Takraw and the POC, what else is keeping you busy? I understand you have a podcast coming up.
Oh yeah, I'm so
Can you
happy.
tell us about
There
that?
is life outside my life outside sports. There's food with Resto PH, and then my personal advocacy. I think, Anton, I was born to be an advocate. I advocate for Filipino athletes, but I think at this point in my life, in midlife, I realized that it's about time that we champion for Filipino women's health concerns in midlife. So we have a podcast. Thank you for asking. It's called Ante Time. It's on YouTube and Spotify. It talks about really, the topic that's often overlooked and seen as a taboo, and it's perimenopause and menopause. It's talking about, ending the shame, embracing aging gracefully, and having the quality of life from midlife onwards for Filipino women. So it's an exciting time. It's a worthwhile women's health advocacy for me, and I'm really excited to, tell anybody who would listen to us that, it's happening. We want to take it mainstream. We want to take the conversation at least in the national, level where there is, I'm having a brain fog as I speak. It's part of my symptoms, but, just for, someday it will be part of the Women's Health Initiative in the country.
Well, you have it right here.
Yeah, she's my partner, Antebel. So she's my college barkada, and we're both going through the same journey of perimenopause, and that's why we decided nobody taught us to be, nobody prepared us to be where we are right now. The quality of life, the symptoms, perimenopause and menopause is not a disease, it's not a sickness. It's a biological phase that all women go through. But nobody prepared us to be here. Nobody prepared us physically, mentally, and women in midlife, we're still thriving. We are at the peak of our career, and we have to be at our best. But with all these symptoms, that's sometimes debilitating mentally and physically. And there are ways to combat or manage all these symptoms. And that's what we're really advocating for. Having the word out, ending the stigma and the shame of aging, and having a proper women's health policies nationally that would be available from Filipino women from all social class and all walks of life. Yeah.
So there you go. I'm sure everybody who have listened and watched this episode right now and don't know, now they know. And there's a safe space to talk about this topic of conversation.
Now, I think Filipinas are now comfortable talking about this little by little. We hope that we take it mainstream, that Filipino women in mid-age will not be ashamed to embrace this phase of our lives, and that we empower ourselves with ways to manage all these symptoms. Again, perimenopause and menopause is not a disease. It's a phase in our lives that we have to go through, and there are ways to help us. So we are also empowering our children, our family, our workplace, and our community that we need their help to help us at this stage of our lives. So it's very personal to me, Anton.
Well, congratulations on the new pod and all the best, especially with your contributions to Philippine sports and Sepak Takraw.
Thank you so much, Anton. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Miss Karen Tanchanco Caballero with us here on the Scorecard.
Thank you so much. Good evening.
And with that, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow on the Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. This is Anton Roxas. Have a blessed evening, everybody, and good night.